Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another installment of Transition Talks with Athlete Soul, where we discuss the stories of transition with former elite athletes and what they have learned throughout the process. I'm your host, Steve Davis Jr., former football player, athlete transition coach with Athlete Soul, and the founder of Strive Higher After Sports. In this episode, I get the pleasure of speaking with Neha Aggarwal, a four-time national champion in table tennis and the only female table tennis player to represent India in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Neha has won 80-plus national and 40-plus international medals, climbing to rank number one in India and rank number 18 in the world. And now she is the Chief Partnership Officer for a nonprofit dedicated to helping Indian athletes win Olympic and Paralympic medals. Let's jump right into the conversation with Neha to learn more about her story and her journey and what she's doing now. Well, Neha, welcome into Transition Talks. How are you doing today?
Very well, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for your time and excited to jump into your story. Why don't we just go right into it? I know you've had a tremendous career, but tell us a little bit more about your journey. Like you represented India at age 16 in table tennis. How did that journey begin, and what was like the origins of you getting into table tennis?
Sure. Thanks for that. I come from a very conservative family in India. I'm from Delhi. My dad is a small businessman, and my mom's a housewife. And this I'm talking back in 1990. Six when I started playing table tennis. And it was actually because of my brother. My school at that time used to support two sports. So they made it mandatory for all kids ages between 5 to 10 to just take part in a state level tournament that they used to organize. So both of us started with skating. I did decently well for 2, 3 years in that sport, but switched to table tennis. My brother in that state level tournament won a silver medal one fine day, and that's when my parents got super excited and put both me and my brother into table tennis coaching. I always ask them that what was your thought process? I asked my parents, how did you think that your kids should go for table tennis coaching, and especially me, because others from my community, no other girl was playing any sport, and my dad just said that he wanted to do differently for his daughter, and I'm so grateful for that because that's how my journey started. I was about 7 when I started playing table tennis. At 12, I won the under 14 national championship, and you stand on the podium and you're awarded the medal, and suddenly you're the talk of the town. Also, Delhi back in India, Delhi as a state was not very popular in table tennis at that time. It was after 20 years somebody from Delhi state had won a medal at the national championship. So it became like a big deal, and there was media coverage, and I think the thrill of winning really got me into it, and that's when I really thought that I want to dedicate my life and at some point play for India at the Olympics. I was also very fortunate that I got a very good coach early on. And my coach helped me, right from my growing days till the time I retired. He helped me through and through. So, yeah, I mean, so grateful for my parents and then my coach for, giving me the opportunity and then helping me grow in the sport.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. You were thrusted into the pedestal at a very young age, 12, winning a big championship and everybody making a big deal out of that. And then obviously being able to take that to age 16 to go into the Beijing Olympics in 2008. And you were the only Indian woman to play table tennis representing India. And oh, that's a lot. But looking back at your time with all the accomplishments, like what stands out for you as far as the things that you really enjoyed and maybe like some of the highlights of your career?
Yeah, I think I had a very I would say steep early success graph. Okay, so from 2001 till 2007, I was in the finals of every single national championship in my age category. I won four out of them. I became India number one in the senior category at 16. At 18, I represent India at the Beijing Olympics. And of course, I continued playing for India till I was 25. Dedicated about 16 years of my life, to the sport, and won several medals for India. As singles, as doubles, as teams as well at the Commonwealth Youth Games, Commonwealth Championships, Asian Junior Championships. But definitely representing India at the Beijing Olympics has to be, the highlight of my career. Back then, because I was only 18, nobody was expecting me to qualify. I beat two other seniors who at that time were really dominant, and that's how I got through. And I also had a very different technique, which nobody was using back then in India, and very few players from outside of India as well, globally as well. So nobody really expected me to qualify. And, doing that and being so young and being the only woman, I think was a great exposure and experience. Just, being in the opening ceremony, and, you wear your traditional attire, right? For us, it's the sari. And, when you take the march around the stadium, I think it's a very special moment for all athletes, because what you actually see in the stadium is flashes of camera lights as you walk around with your contingent. But what's really going inside your mind is all the years and years of effort, right, that you put into sport to make this moment happen. There's wins, there are losses, there's literally blood, sweat, and tears. And Athletes live such a lonely life. You live in a bubble. You don't have friends. You say no to parties. You don't have a social life. Injuries and whatnot, right? And that's when it all comes through. So for me, definitely, being at Beijing has been the highlight of my career. But I also have to say that in my prime years, 20, 21, 22, I had the biggest, I would say, experience in terms of not doing well. I faced a lot of losses in my career, for 3 straight years that I was not part of the Indian team. And It was so bad that I kind of stopped trusting myself, trusting the technique that I was so proud of. Made a lot of changes, and was really the toughest time of my life. And that's also when I worked the hardest. So when I made that comeback, I think that was also very sweet for me, and something which I'm very proud of.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And given that you played it from it seems like early age 6, 7, all the way to you say 25, um, obviously that is a lot of time, a lot of effort that you put into it, especially to experience that success at a young age. You had to be like focused so much on your craft that, to your point, it may have taken away the opportunity to like be a kid and live a life with others and have fun and have friends and you are making it to the highest level of your sport and then being the only in your sport to a certain extent in the Olympics. I'm sure that brought a lot of pressure. How are you able to navigate the pressure of all of this?
I'll be honest. I've been just learning how to deal with pressure, I think, every single day. At Beijing, I did not perform my best. While I say that, for me, participation was, prime. But how I performed at Beijing, um, when I stepped on the court, they announce your name. You gotta march and say hi, wave, and all of that. And for me, that experience, I was not ready because firstly, it was table tennis happening in China, right? That's their most famous and widely watched sport. Great fan following. So there were like 10,000 people in the stands, and a million people back in India watching me. And the sort of pressure that I faced at that time as a young Indian girl, uh, I think I was not ready. I remember my hands were shaking, my legs were not moving the best. I was probably not making the best decisions. I felt stuck. And I was up against somebody I beat just 2 months back before at the World Championship. I actually had a great draw, but I lost that match, and I was really, really frustrated because the preparation to handle pressure at the highest level was not done. So I think for me, that Olympic experience also sort of has a dent in my heart that I could have done better if only if I knew how to, handle the pressure at that highest level. Later as well, I think just handling success and defeat and uh, being okay with both. I think that has been a big learning overall in my sporting career. Like I mentioned, there was this time when for 3 years I didn't do well at all, and it was the lowest phase of my life. I did attempt to harm myself as well. I think I was going through something. Um, I lost to an athlete that I shouldn't have. And, in sport, when you win in front of a big crowd, but when you lose, you also lose in front of a big crowd. And I just felt so ashamed that day of losing that, I just wanted to do something. So, and that was the sort of the pressure I faced. On the flip side, there have been matches where there is a packed stadium in Japan where I'm up against the best Japanese, and I've really won those matches. I didn't care about who's watching, and I've been in my best shape. So there's been ups and downs, but I think having played sport at that level, I think handling pressure is something athletes just learn and you get wired to. And now I can say that the just the ability to deal adversity in life, like I feel confident that whatever comes my way, I'll be able to go through it. If I've done that in the past, I'll be able to do and apply that in any other form or any other walks of my life.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. There's a lot of evidence that we get because of sports that shows us like we're gonna be okay. We're able to push through.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
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 I think sport just gives you that innate belief that no matter what happens in life, you'll be okay. You'll just
yeah,
sail through. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Well, how did you apply that same mindset, knowing that um yeah, there are points where you do lose, and sometimes in the past you may have felt like a loser or a failure, but being able to be resilient and push back and bounce back through that, um, when it came to the end of your career, and the transition from all of that time playing table tennis to now you're out in the world trying to figure out what to do next. Um, what was that like for you? What did you do to maybe do some preparation for it? And, how did you handle going through that transition?
I think like we just spoke, the number one was belief. Sport gave me such belief that in my mind when I decided that, I am done with the sport, I was extremely tired mentally. I think so the last tournament I played for India was the 2014 Asian Games. And I think about prior to that, about 6 months, I think in my mind, I was sure that, that's probably going to be the last tournament for me because I was just frustrated with whatever was happening in terms of just the way we supported athletes. It was not the best. Um, we were working very hard. We were working as hard as probably the other athletes, the best athletes in the world, but the system never supported us to be the best. At that back then, and now the situation in India is different. But back then, if you were an elite Indian athlete, you would do it not because of the system, you would do it despite the system. So it took a lot of mental energy out of me. And so after the Asian Games, when I retired, um, I was very clear that um, I want to be on the other side of sport and help make a change where I can make a difference in the way we supported our athletes. Because my entire career, I never worked with a nutritionist. I did not have a sports psychologist. I had a back injury. For 10 days, I could not find the right doctor to diagnose what was going on. And, every single second in the life of an elite athlete is critical, especially when you're injured. Right. And your athlete should not be taking 10 days to get the right diagnosis. So I think I was really, really frustrated by the system. And I knew that I want to contribute back to it. And I knew also that um, I the world of sport is vast. Um, Being an athlete is only one aspect of it, but there is just so much more to sport than being an athlete. Um, and thus I knew that I need to get my skills upgraded and get some good education to move through that smooth transition. So I started preparing for GMAT. I wanted to do an MBA from a good university. And somebody just recommended that Columbia has a great sports management program, and that's when I applied, got through it, and it was one of the best experiences of my life, because that 1 year at Columbia really gave me the tools to learn sport from the other side. What is sports management, accounting, marketing, social media, finance, events, leadership, communication, all of this. From that lens, I got to do some great internships as well. I worked at this United States Olympic Committee at the training center in Colorado Springs, and that was such a brilliant experience. I worked at the Women's Sports Foundation in New York, and thus that experience, I think, helped me transition smoothly. And I was very clear that I wanted to come to India, although I did get offered a job in the US, but I was very sure that I wanted to come back and work for India and our Indian athletes. So yeah, I mean, it was the hardest year. Let me tell you. So in my first semester, the biannual exam, we had to make a PowerPoint presentation regarding a project. And I did not know how to make a PowerPoint. I was that raw. So I had to first go back and learn PowerPoint, Excel, all of that, and then go about it. And by the end of my graduation, I passed in basketball analytics, and I take it with a lot of pride. So it was a crazy 1 year, and that's what I say, that I tell a lot of athletes that just playing sport is not enough. You need to have some tools, some skills outside of sport, because life as an athlete is very short.
Yes.
30, 35, okay, these days with modern sports science, you can probably push till 40. That too also in certain sports only. So what next? Life is long and you got to be ready and alert. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's sort of my story of transition. But I would say mentally it's been really hard, because all your life you're just used to being an athlete. Suddenly, the media is not chasing you, nobody's writing about you. You're not going and performing every single day, you're so used to it. You kind of slow down, You now need to think about your life yourself. I feel like otherwise people are just managing you, and now you're kind of sent out in the open and gotta do real life stuff. So it's been really hard, but yeah, it's been a smooth transition otherwise, I would say.
Yeah, that's a major point. Like for your whole life, people have been managing you. And now, like, good luck. You got to go do it by yourself. And
And that
yeah,
happens in like one day, right?
yeah,
Just yesterday you were an athlete and today I'm an ex-athlete.
yeah, yeah,
And that identity shift, you're like, what is going on? You
exactly.
don't understand. So, you know, it's very important to mentally move out of that athlete mindset.
Yeah. And to a certain extent, you have to kind of humble yourself and be willing to learn again. Because, like, what your example of the PowerPoint is a perfect example of, well, I need to go back to the basics on some of this stuff because, yeah, others may notice, but I haven't really paid much attention to this. And this is going to be helpful in this next part of my life. So let me get this understanding. And I think to a certain extent, sometimes we go from being at this top level to thinking that it's gonna be just that easy when we get to life and be at the top levels. Like, no, we have to start over. And that's hard, mentally, but it's also, once again, humbling to be able to just think about it from that standpoint. And I think
Yeah,
from,
for sure. And, I think the biggest thing you miss suddenly that is taken out of your life is the thrill of winning.
mm,
As athletes, every day in practice, you win or lose, and the strife is just that pursuit is so high. Every single day is the passion that you put in is of next level. If you do not find something to do at that similar level that you can get passionate about after retirement is going to be really hard.
yeah, yeah. And that's the part there that I think everybody's searching for. It doesn't come easily. I think it's one of the things that will help you in that next chapter is finding the driver that got you up in sports that will get you up in life. And it sounded like from you, being able to see all the things that were going wrong in your own experience, and also from your country, you wanted to be able to support and give back to that. And that kind of led you down this path, where you go back, you get your MBA, you're learning the other side of sport. Um, but now you are the chief partnership officer, for Olympic Gold Quest. Tell us a little bit about how you got there and what's the mission there.
Yeah. So this has, like I said, you need to find something after retirement that you would be super passionate about, that you wake up every day and you want to, yay, go do it. I think this is what it is for me. It's been 8 years since I am at OGQ. What we do is we help Indian athletes in their training and preparations for the Olympics and Paralympics. So think about everything that at our time we did not get, from coaching to training, physiotherapy, nutrition, SNC, uh, right scientific training, injury management, mentorship, funding to just take part in tournaments and training in India and abroad. We are able to provide this to all our athletes. OGQ was co-founded by two of India's sporting legends, Geet Sethi, who's a nine-time world billiard and snooker champion, and Prakash Padukone, who's a legendary badminton player. And with just this mindset that whatever mistakes that happened, during our careers, we should not be repeating in the next generation. And I can say that when we participated at major international events, um, I think somewhere uh, we knew uh, that we are not the best in the world, and at some level we went there to participate. But today I'm so happy to say that the support system for an Indian athlete has changed. Today, when Indian athletes in any sport go abroad, step onto the court, they go there to win. And we have seen this change. Of course, it has taken great amount of political will to bring this change, and we work with the Indian government very closely, in all our programs. So it's a very humbling experience, and something which always excites me is just to see that our athletes are given the right support at the right time, and we are able to match the standards on training standards of the best athletes in the world. And you can see translate the results are currently happening. Uh, 60% of India's medal winners in the last four Olympics, their training have been supported by us. At the Paralympics as well, majority of Indian medal winners, their training has been supported by us. So for me, it's just being in the same space from the other side, and has been a very, very, I would say, enriching experience. And at the end of the day, you sleep peacefully at night knowing that
Yeah.
you did something good today.
No, that's amazing. No, that's really big that, you guys have kind of flipped the paradigm in regards to how athletes are competing from India in the Olympics, and it has showed more results, which is huge. Like obviously you saw an issue and you're now on the other side and helping to impact the growth of representation, but also their competitive nature within the sport. They're not just showing up, they're competing, which is amazing. And for you too, it just seems like you found something in relation to the sport that you've played your entire life and affecting it in a different way, which is kind of like what we talked about, finding that why, that driver. But I'm curious also, like, as you have navigated life after, and obviously that's a passion of yours to be involved with the sport, but what else have you discovered about yourself outside of just sports that kind of speaks to who you are today and how you show up and things that you enjoy?
I think the number one thing is that I continue to remain curious. Uh, I feel it's really important to know different aspects, different industries, different aspects of life. Um, I may know Indian sport, but I may know nothing about what's happening in the financial sector, in the startup world, and so many other different walks of life. I think that's the number one thing, is to stay curious, which brings me to the next, is to just meet and talk to different of people in different walks of life. I think that's been critical, because as athletes, you're just so you you're mostly interacting with fellow athletes, and very less with even administrators or people who organize events or federations or the government. Very few people get that opportunity, so your circle of influence is very limited. As athletes, I feel what I realized was that there's a whole world outside that we just have no clue about. So for me, meeting people from different walks of life, and my job also gives me that opportunity. As the chief partnerships officer, I'm responsible to take care of all the funds that we raise at OGQ, because we are not for profit. And because of this, I just get to meet so many different people, which opens up your horizon and educates you, regarding various other aspects. I do have to admit that I had no hobbies when I was playing. And I don't know what other athletes feel like. I know some do painting, some may play some instrument or anything. I had zero hobbies. And I figured out that, just going out, having fun in dancing was something which I really enjoyed. So whenever now I have a bad day, like I know I need to go to put a Bollywood music, and I want to dance to it. It may not sound very interesting, But I think that is something which I've learned, that it is something which will light me up. Because back then when I was playing, I would just go to the table tennis table and start playing. That will make me happy. But now you got to figure out, something else. The other thing is that I explored different ways in of fitness. So until I was playing, I never did yoga. And in the last 6 7 years, I explored yoga and just figured out, what good it can do for your body. So, I mean, doing a headstand is like a huge win for me now. That if you're able to do, which I could never do when I was, as an athlete, I could never do it. So, yoga has been also, helping me a lot. And now I would also say that to un as an athlete, as a retired athlete, to um, pay attention to your personal life. I think we just didn't pay attention to our personal life as athletes. Like I said, I did not have friends. Um, just relationships with your family and close network. Uh, it's very minimal, right? So, I also got married. Just recently, I became a mother, and it has become a new life altogether. And, Steve, back to my point, motherhood has been so hard on me mentally and physically. And I'm sure it is for several, for all mothers. We just don't talk enough. Just that belief that sport gave me is helping me um, go through this postpartum period. I had a complicated pregnancy, and I just have to give credit to my sport in just helping me, give me that belief that has helped me go through a pregnancy and now in postpartum, which is just so challenging. So mentally, all these things have helped. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah,
A lot of new things to discover, and I just feel it's a whole wide world
yeah.
to explore post retirement.
Absolutely. You're going through many different identity shifts and, going from, being a parent, is another shift as well because now you're raising a human being and, kind of thinking about your own life and how you get to reflect on that and what do you want for your child. There's a lot that goes into that. But yeah, having that resilience, being the fact that you can say to yourself, like, okay, I've been through ups and downs, I can figure this out. But um, good for you though for finding the things that resonate and connect because that is the hardest part. We haven't had hobbies. A lot of athletes don't get the chance to have hobbies. So discovering hobbies is hard. I'm still figuring out more things as I get
Eh,
older.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to learn something new, you just have to go back to basics. And you've perfected an art for like 20 years, and like now you want us to do something differently and go back
Right.
to it, it's hard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
any retired athlete listening to this and connects to this, I hear you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, no doubt. I do too. But those hobbies can do a lot for you, so you don't just jump into that one space again and just think this is the only thing that's gonna make you happy. Like you have
Yeah,
other things that you
yeah,
enjoy. You just got to be curious and lean into it, try it out,
yeah,
and hey, you
yeah.
might start
And I think,
dancing.
yeah, yeah. And I think it evolves as well. Say, for example, through my last experiences over the last couple of years, um, I started speaking out loud regarding the menstrual health of women athletes. And just understanding that what we went through without any knowledge, without any scientific training being done when you're, in your menstrual phase, right? And how do you train smart during this phase, right? We just have no knowledge and information regarding this. So just been passionate about that, figuring if we can just have more women talk about it,
Hmm.
because it is a taboo. Definitely, it is a taboo in India, that we don't talk about these things. So we can get more and more women athletes talk about their menstrual health and the challenges they are facing, and how it is, it can really encourage other girls who face similar challenges, and they can learn from it. So, like, this is something which I just recently, in the last couple of years, found that, okay, I'm passionate about it. So try to do something regarding that as well.
Yeah,
So I think you will evolve and you'll figure out what you're further passionate about and what you would like to do,
yeah.
which keeps you going.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that you have more time to think and discover, it allows you to like get excited about new things. It's like a kid, shiny new toy. Um, well, to wrap us up, would love to hear your thoughts. You know, with Athlete Soul, we do a lot of work supporting the transition and the identity, but we're really about empowering athletes to grow beyond the sport. So, with that in mind, just thinking about your own experience, if you were to offer up your younger self, or maybe even athletes that are currently still playing, what would you say to them to inspire them to think about preparing for life beyond, competition and kind of keeping, the life part as part of the process, not just the sport?
I think the number one thing is just to acknowledge that life as an athlete is short, and you cannot be an athlete, like actively competing athlete forever. If you know that, engaging in things outside of sport, I think, is really important. So for example, I did make sure that I went to school, I gave my exams, I graduated, and I was a good student as well. So I studied too and paid equal importance to it. So I would encourage all athletes to ensure that they study and they graduate, because that is your stepping stone to hone skills that will help you after retirement. Um, the second is that today the opportunities for athletes to build their brand is a lot. So I think, be a good storyteller. I think put yourself out there when you have some time off. You're in tournaments, you have time off. Go network, talk to people. Um, just being out there, use social media to your advantage. That'll help you give visibility that you may actually not have. So I think putting yourself out there and being uncomfortable is very important. Um, and I think, lastly, not everyone can immediately find their passion. You know, what woke you up every single day in morning as an athlete. You may not feel passionate about something, post retirement. But I think it's okay. I think it's important to know that transition takes time. The excitement, the thrill of being an athlete just fades away immediately. So don't be in a rush and take the pressure that you gotta again hit an ace, or you gotta hit that perfect shot again, right? In the other side, be patient with yourself, because this transition is the hardest transition you'll ever make. Till today, I at least twice in a week, I dream of being in a table tennis arena with my teammates, and I'm playing some match in some country. And I wake up and I'm like, it's been what, close to 11 years since I retired, and I still dream of it. So it's hard. Just don't be too hard on yourself, to make. But practically, you know, explore, explore, explore is what I would say.
Oh, that's amazing message, and I resonate so much with what you just shared. Storytelling, networking, putting yourself out there, giving yourself grace is a big portion of this, and being patient with the journey because
Yeah.
you can't just jump right into it. And yeah, I have a lot of dreams still too. Like I'm still on the field. Just this past week, I was on the field playing. It's like those dreams are just part of you.
Same. I would also add that it's important for athletes to know what skills you have acquired being an athlete,
Yeah.
which the world out there needs. So any corporate job that now you go to want to hire athletes because you've learned teamwork, you've learned leadership, you've learned resilience, you've learned how to learn something from scratch and be perfect in it. You've learned discipline, you've learned hard work. And these are really, you've learned how to be humble, you've learned how to handle success and defeat. And these are the things which folks when they hire in the private sector at the corporate level really look for.
Mm.
So do not diminish yourself thinking that, oh, I was an athlete before, now I don't know what to do. Yes, that is true, but those skills are transferable. And sorry, those skills that you've learned are transferable in your journey post retirement. And you must know this and you must be very proud of that.
Absolutely. Yes, those skills are desired in the world, and you have something that a lot of people don't get a chance to build in a very controlled environment. So being able to use that is important. It's part of who you are, it's part of your journey, and just understanding how to articulate that is an important part of the process. So Neha, really appreciate this conversation and learning more about you and your journey. And kudos to you. Congrats for being a mother and the work that you're doing with Indian athletes over in there, trying to helping them go to the Olympics and different things. Really enjoy the advice that you gave as well. So appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Steve, and you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Athletes need to know all of this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this is it for our episode today of Transition Talks. Thanks for listening and just continue to stay tuned to more episodes like this with amazing stories of amazing people. So, thank you.